A few months back, Hasbro officially announced the next trilogy of figures we were going to be getting after the War for Cybertron trilogy, which we of course all now know is Legacy. And when they announced those figures, I ranked all of Wave 1 just based on the announcement and the reveals. Now, I have all of Wave 1 in hand. So, what do you say we go ahead and rank all of Legacy Wave 1? What's up guys, Deceptibot9 here, and thank you for joining me here on the channel as always. If you like what you see, go ahead and leave me a like, and if you want to see more of what I got going on, hit subscribe as well. And if you want to follow me on all of my other social media channels, you can find me at TikTok, where I make shorter form video content, and over on Instagram, where I post photos of new things I get, things I overall enjoy, maybe not want to make a whole video about. So, let's talk about Legacy Wave 1. I know there was a lot of people worried about Legacy after how great the War for Cybertron Kingdom was. And I've got to say, after having all of these Legacy figures in hand, they all stand up to the quality that we have come to expect of the War for Cybertron trilogy in the past 3-4 years, however long that was. And I love all of these. Well, I like all of these figures. I wouldn't say I love all of these figures. And before we jump into the ranking itself, I want to get into a few disclaimers about the list. So Blaster and Hot Rod are both inclusions in the Legacy line that I am not going to be including on the ranking because they were both packed in Kingdom and in Legacy. And while I think at least Blaster was intended for Legacy, I'm not sure about Hot Rod. And just having them both packed in makes me unsure as to which line they are supposed to be in. So for safety, I went ahead and excluded those two off the list. So that leaves us with 8 figures, that of course being Core Class Skywarp, Core Class Iguanas, Deluxe Class Dragstrip, Skids, Kickback, Prime Universe RC, Voyager Prime Universe Bulkhead, and Leader Class Laser Prime. Now, if you want to go ahead and check out my ranking of when they were revealed and see how I stack up there, you can go ahead and do that. But I think without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in to Legacy Wave 1 ranking. Alright, coming in all the way at the bottom, all the way at number 8, I think this might disappoint some people, and it kind of disappoints me because I really love the guy. It is Core Class Skywarp. Now, I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with Core Class Skywarp. The Core Class Seeker mold is an absolutely fantastic mold, except for there's one big thing wrong with this figure, and it's that since he came with the combining weapon piece, which I actually really do love, and we're going to see it on Iguanas when he shows up on the list, Skywarp not having the null rays just makes him feel a little naked. And there's nothing wrong, like I said, there is nothing wrong with the little guy at all. Transformation is still fun. Plane mode is great. Robot mode is great. They have so much articulation and fun packed into the Core Class Seeker mold. Skywarp is my favorite, and I think all the details in the paint came out great on Skywarp. And I think really the main reason that he's so low is A, it's a mold we've seen before, and B, he's missing crucial accessories. So as much as I love Skywarp and as much as I love the little guy, he's sitting down at the bottom. Coming in next at number 7, a figure that has slightly disappointed me, but I've also liked more than I thought I was going to. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. It is Leader Class Laser Optimus Prime. And now, upon initial pictures, I did think he looked pretty awesome, and I think he looked great. And getting him in hand, his transformation surprised me. I didn't know that that's how they were going to pull that off. But there are some things that kind of do disappoint me about this figure. Number 1, the reuse of the Earthrise legs. I thought I wouldn't mind all that much, but I really wish they had done something different with the legs. At least molded the knee flaps out of the mold, because I don't know why we're still stuck with those. The other big thing that disappoints me about this guy is these shoulder pauldrons. While they are really awesome, the fact that they do not articulate, they're just kind of stuck there, really hinders what you can do with the arms and the way he looks in certain poses. And I think if they had made those on free moving ball joints, it would have increased the playability and overall look of this guy in the robot mode. But I do have to say, I love having an Optimus Prime as a semi-truck again, because one of my big introductions into the franchise was the Bayverse movies, so I have a soft spot for Optimus being a long-nosed semi-truck, and so this guy really hits that spot. And despite the grievances with this guy, I am definitely going to be picking up the Walmart exclusive Scourge, because I love Scourge, I love Nemesis Prime type characters as well, and I'm not going to pass this up, even with those gripes that I have with this mold. Alright, coming in at number 6 is Dragstrip. Now, I think there's actually really nothing wrong with Dragstrip. I think he is a fun, solid figure in both modes. Transformation is pretty straightforward and simple as well. But it's not a gripe, one of the reasons he's so low is because he's a combiner piece. And I feel usually that when they make combiner teams and combiner pieces, that the figure is never truly complete, and I cannot truly appreciate it as a whole figure until the whole combiner is out. There's a video that I did a long time ago that was my top 5 Studio Series Voyagers at the time, and I make a note in there that I did not include any Constructicons in that because Devastator was not fully released, and I felt those figures were incomplete to being their full potential. So Dragstrip, his positioning, if I were to rank all of Legacy or all of Legacy Wave 1, after all of Menasor has been released, his positioning might change a little bit. But I do think overall, this is where I stop having some gripes about figures. And these are all really solid, because I think Dragstrip does act as a solid figure just by himself, and he could be really neat. All right, breaking into the top 5, it is Prime Universe RC, and I feel that I like this figure a lot more than other people do. If you watched my Legacy reveal ranking video, you'll know that I put her actually at number 1. I was very excited for Prime Universe RC, and she hasn't really disappointed me at all. I think she's great. She holds up really well. I think the design on her is just absolutely brilliant. If I had to critique one thing about RC, the energy weapons they gave her are a little weird, but seeing some of the repaints now that they are coming out with, it makes a little bit more sense. But you can see that I have done a little nice repurposing of them to make them like her underarm blades like she had in Transformers Prime. And I think transformation is really fun on RC. I think she looks great in robot mode, and I think she looks great in vehicle mode. And overall, I really love Prime Universe RC. She's the best RC we've had in the past couple of years. Let's be real. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Core Class Iguanas. I did not expect this guy to be this high on the list, but here we are. I think Core Class Iguanas does what I love when they update certain G1 figures, is that this guy used to be a big Pretender shell, and he was a Pretender figure, and he had this really reptilian-looking robot mode, and he had this super cool futuristic bike mode, and now they've managed to take that and just turn him into a really solid little guy. He looks great in this robotic lizard mode here, and he looks great in the futuristic motorbike mode as well. It's like the same thing that they've done when they updated Topspin and Twin Twist, the jump starters, and it's like when they redid Battle Trap in Power of the Primes. I love when they sort of dig into these older or later years G1 figures that were maybe plagued by gimmick, or not plagued by, but they were focused on gimmicks when they came out originally, and now we're seeing proper modern reinterpretations of those characters. That is what I absolutely love that they do in these modern generations lines, and I really hope we get to see more characters from Iguanas' time done in this format with this justice as well. Alright, and coming in at number 3 is Deluxe Class Skids. This guy is a whole lot of fun. I really like Skids a lot. I've been very close over the past year or two about picking up the Thrilling 30 version of Skids because I love that design. I never picked it up when it came out, and I've always wanted to add a G1-ish Skids to my collection. Now I have Legacy Skids, and I think he looks fantastic. I still will probably pick up Thrilling 30 Skids because it's a different version. It's a IDW take, which I love the IDW style figures as well. But this guy here, you know, he's one of those figures that really like takes you back to what Autobot used to mean. He's very simple. He turns into a great looking little car. My biggest problem with Skids, if I had to give one, is I don't really like how the shoulders are. When they articulate out, it doesn't really feel like it's his shoulder, if you know what I mean. I don't know. There's something a little wonky about the shoulders, but coming for Transformation, I see where they were going from, or where they were coming from with it, so it doesn't make me too upset. But yeah, that is Deluxe Skids at number 3. All right, coming in at number 2, Deluxe Kickback. Now, if you watched my announcement ranking video, you'll know I placed Kickback all the way at the bottom of the list. I thought he looked simple, and I thought he looked boring, and I thought he wasn't as good as of an update as the Titans Return one was. But all of those words have now turned around, and that's actually why I like Kickback so much. They don't overcomplicate it. It's a very simple, straightforward design, and that's where the fun in Kickback lies. Transformation is exactly what you expect out of Kickback. His arms fold out, his grasshopper legs fold out of his legs, and he just lays flat on his back. What more could you want? What more could you hope for? I think he is a very solid modern adaptation of Kickback, and I hope we get the other two Insecticons, or, you know, the other two main Insecticons coming out with this guy, because he's kind of following the format I talked about with the mini-bots. I know he was never a mini-bot, but he feels like those modern mini-bots to me, and I really hope we get to see the Insecticons completed. And coming in at number 1, so far the only Legacy figure I have actually done a full review of here on the channel, it is Voyager class Bulkhead. I cannot get enough of this guy. In hand, he is amazing. I know lots of people have gripes with the fact that this does not look like true Prime Bulkhead, but man, he feels like it. He's big, he is bulky. Yes, he's obviously got a huge square out of the chest instead of a round one, but I think this guy came out fantastic. The head sculpt also especially looks great, but he is very posable, he is very fun to transform, and he looks amazing in both modes. Plus, I love the addition of the Wrecking Ball accessory that collapses over his hand. The use of the canopy also as a shield looks great, so you can get kind of two different distinct looks for the guy. I think Bulkhead just really stands out and is really fantastic. And I hope we can get more Prime Universe characters like we're seeing with Knockout in the future. I hope we get some more because I really love these newer versions of them as well. Alright, so that is going to be all for my ranking of Legacy Wave 1. Now, I said I wasn't going to formally include them, but if I did have to include Hot Rod and Blaster on the list, Core Class Hot Rod would be probably at the very bottom, and Blaster would be up near the top because this guy is spectacular as well. But that's all for my ranking. Go ahead and let me know down below in the comments what your ranking of Legacy Wave 1 figures are. Even if you don't have all of them, I want to know what you guys think of them as well. And like I mentioned, I only have done a full review of Bulkhead over here on the channel, but if there is any figure on this list or any figures in the future that you would like me to take a look at and do a full review of, please let me know in the comments as well. I love listening to you guys and giving you guys what you want. So with all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. As always, I've been your host, Decepticon9, and I'll see you guys later.